they haven't looked phased. I think even though it says 7-4, the Unlimited, some of the rounds they lost was obviously down to them, but there was just more rounds being lost to Death Row because they were kind of all over the place. They didn't look as if they had a clear game plan. Everything the Unlimited went, you know, they had the game plan. If it didn't work, it was very obvious, you know, why it didn't work. But for Death Row, it looked as if they could do something, and then they just kind of throw it out the window and they do something else. It's weird. They never chance their attack they're going for.
We're going to see a Monty ban. Of all the places, Bank is one of the ones that you would expect to see a Monty ban on, but still there are so many things that you can look to try and remove. Dokkaebi coming through is a bit of a no-brainer.
Monty's very good on Bank for a couple of reasons. He was great on 2 bomb sites, in my opinion. I think he's obviously basement, stand behind him and plant is very obvious. That's going to be a go-to. But even for like a top floor, he's just good at like solo pushing up spiral stairs and just gaining information.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You know, it's a big map. You want to be hunting roamers. Monty's going to be able to do that as the human drone. Castle, a ban. I can't remember last time we've seen the Castle ban, but it does make a lot of sense for Bank. Bank relies very heavily for attackers on windows, and then Castle is being brought in for the defense to block up those windows and not give away those lines of sight. It's also really good for the tertiary bomb sites. If you're looking at Teller's Archives, if you're looking at open area and kitchen, it's going to be important to castle off some doorways, stop anyone kind of crouch walking in. And, I mean, I guess for Death Row it kind of tells us that they're looking to play really aggro on the attack, because you don't ban Castle if you're not ready for that. Like, if you know the Castle's there, there's going to be big openings. It's also going to change the strats for both sides.
It's almost mandatory on this site in particular, a castle, in my opinion. You think about all the different ways that you can play those castle barricades, whether it be blocking off the double door, blocking off the single window. There are just so many options.
Yeah, like double door not being able to be castled off is going to be tricky to deal with, because now somebody could walk into janitors, for goodness sake, and just open up an angle straight into the bomb site. Single window, like you mentioned, can be easily broken through now.
And it's strange to see Unlimited go here first after the castle back comes out.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd go somewhere a little bit safer.
You don't have that same extension towards elevator, lobby, double door. It's usually castled off now. Yeah, it screams crouch walk central to me. And even with Echo being banned out as well. The information, because again, Castle is not only there, obviously, like we mentioned, about blocking out sightlines, he is also there for information. If you know a castle barricade gets broken, you know somebody's pushing that. So it is going to be really difficult, I think, for the defense this game. I think it's going to be an attacker-sided Bank. This is what I mean. Look at this, immediately straight up. He knows he can swing blue ollie because that barricade isn't going to be castled.
I think the Death Row need it to be an attacker-sided map, honestly, because with the way that we saw their attacks play out on Chalet, it was not the greatest. We'll have to see how many advantages they can take here, knowing the lay of the land, knowing what they're going to be going into. We've got the 0 again. This time, it's often that we'll see a 0 on Bank. It can be brought to really gather a lot more information. You've got those Argus cameras and, more importantly, the secondary hard breach here.
Not as much as what I think we make it out to be sometimes. Because for me, whenever I think of a team who plays Bank and only plays 0, the first team that... I can't really think of any other team apart from Rogue. They're the only team who I think bring it 6 times out of 6. I don't think you can say the same for other teams.
Are there any other teams, though?
What in the world? There is. Believe it or not, we do have quite a lot of teams.
I thought we just liked Rogue.
It's just the team I think of. So yeah, it's the end of 0. It's good to see. It is a good operator. Hard breach gadgets, the information. It's going to be crucial. Oh, Rorik, be careful. There is players in the skylight. IWI should have been feeding that through to him, to be honest.
Army's going to pick up the first kill onto Swaz. The crouch walking Nook has not worked. Castle barricade or not, Maestro still able to get the job done. A little bit of a drop off there as well, as quite a good deal of time has been burnt. Hypex, you are fortunate to be alive, my friend. He's going to get taken out here as the swing comes from GoRank. Can now start to try and manipulate these vertical angles as more damage is being taken as defenders scurry back to site.
So that's 2 minutes wasted. A lot of utility also being used up by Death Row. They don't have a lot of time, but thankfully for them, the hatches have already been opened up by the defense. That does cut down about 10 seconds or so, and now it's just a matter of fact of getting the drone work done. You have to find out where the remaining players are, how many are going to be in the bomb site, and then being able to execute appropriately. Single window is a crucial thing now. I think you need somebody rotating towards that single window, towards Copier, to cut off really any of the vision and any crosses or sight lines that the defenders may want to be holding.
Well, Drone's going to come into sight there and gather a little bit. IWI's got himself
He's in a dangerous spot.
away. It's a real hero or zero spot here. He could come up with a slew of kills. He also could just get taken out very quickly indeed. 10 seconds left to go, and he is nowhere near his time to strike just yet. It takes the swing, takes goal rank out. It's going to be the start of the kills that do come as a flood. Army, he's going to be locked into an engagement there with Frenchie, as a hatch drop was all that was really an option. Defenders coming away with that first round done limited. Castles or not, making it look fairly straightforward there.
Yeah, just time management not being there for Death Row. Again, same thing that happened to them on Chalet. Just takes them too long to really get things going, and done limited. I thought they played that well, considering that they don't have the castle. It looks as if they have a plan B, and that's the mirror windows upstairs, Ollie, that were being utilised. And the mirror windows, again, it's similar to castle because it denies things away from the attackers, essentially. Because a mirror window is something you don't want to peek at. And if you know that there's going to be mirror windows above, immediately that's what you're going to have to use the utility on. That's what you're going to have to burn through. Same thing you can say for the castle barricades. So I suppose that's probably the comparison that you would make. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but it does seem to be their plan B with wasting time. Death Row, losing that crouch-walking Nook has to be a topic of conversation, Ollie. That opening kill stat has to be mentioned.
They brought it up on the desk. The opening kill in this game so far has often led to a round win. Both of these teams do very well from in front and quite poorly from behind.
Indeed, yeah.
It's not uncommon. It's a very siege-centric thing that we often talk about.
The best teams in the world can make magic happen out of nothing. Isn't that's the way we view the best teams. Horrible things can happen, but they always end up winning a round. What did we say about the NIP team in 2021, whenever they won Invite? The amount of times where they were behind, and then they just pull it out of thin air was incredible, and that's what wins you games. Right now for both these sides, well, obviously we'll see Unlimited on the attack, but right now both the teams, they don't get that opening pick on the attack. They are just, where do you go?
Well, they've gone to the top floor this time. Army picking up that opening kill once again onto Shukri, removing a couple of those nades. I think Shukri actually had two in pocket as well. It's Swaz that's already thrown one, so a good deal of utility lost there again. And, you know, we talk about the opening kill and how important it is, Demo. Something else that's not happening is there's no trades.
No, that was one thing I did want to mention, Chalet, but we didn't get enough time to really mention that, was the opening pick. Sure, it's all, we mentioned opening pick, oh, you've lost the first man, but a lot of times if you do lose that opening pick, we see a lot of teams just refrag it immediately, which does keep it, level, but you're still losing that man nonetheless on the attack. We're not seeing that at all. You're allowing defenders to stabilize, knowing they have an extra man, allowing them to rotate around. The castle ban, we have to mention this again, Ollie. It's usually a bit of a killer for the top floor. With no castle, I'm surprised that we went up here and not down towards the basement. If you know you're not up against the castle, I think that the spiral stairs in towards Canto is your easiest option, because you know banana windows are not going to be castle barricaded. The two double windows on the site are not going to be castle barricaded. You should just be playing windows. All day of the week you should be playing windows, but Death Row are, again, all over the place.
Hellbent on this vertical control, throwing the nades from below, which isn't really working. We've got Frenchie out on the windows right now. Prime in main lobby to keep him somewhat safe. But they haven't got the fortune of numbers here to really commit the players in the right zones, because they've lost those couple of picks really early on. Swaz maybe finds himself a little pick here. But at the point where we're using Selma charges to burn through Rooney gates, it isn't a great sign. Swaz still looking to try and work his way up, but that was always going to happen. Hypex, he just waited for his time to strike and hit from that main lobby. Not only is that Frenchie down, but it's also the diffuser cold on the ground.
Look at this.
Swaz, it's got timeout written all over it if ever I have seen it.
No parking.
Prime, he's going to get himself taken out. It's important to note that Swaz hasn't given up there in this round. He's just thought, you know what, we can take this time and have a discussion, because we do have a timeout, but we don't necessarily want to use it in round number 2. But they need to do some soul searching here, Demo.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, two back-to-back bad attacks, has to be said. I just think it's, you've banned the castle for a reason. You know that the only ways that you would play the castle barricades in this top floor is to block off the double windows on the site and block off the banana windows. That's what you use them for, is it not? Right? So then why are they not attacking into that? Why are you not going in towards lobby, opening the counter wall, putting people on the rappel? We see it work really, really well because you're forcing all of the defenders then either into janitor or into meeting, both of which don't have a good eye on anyone pushing up towards spiral stairs then. And as soon as you get spiral stairs control as the attacker, you control everything.
It's game over.
That's it, because you have so many different angles that you can sit and hold, and then you can swing in. The swinging's easy. That's the only issue that I think obviously defenders don't like about that top floor is there's a direct way into sight. And if there is a direct way into sight, you should be utilizing that. They've done these bans, which is really good ban for starting on the attack, but they're not taking advantage of it.
10 seconds to go.
Well, let's see if they can take advantage downstairs in the basement. This is the third choice site here for Dunlimited. Given the bans and the available operators, it makes a little bit of sense. Hibana being available. Sure, we've got Cade, we've got these things available, but with Thatcher being a thing, secondary gadgets being a thing, you're not really going to be looking to electrical onto these hatches. Instead, Dunlimited are going to go for an extension. Now, something that you would quite like for this extension demo is potentially a castle. So again, it leads into that your defense is going to be slightly weakened here and you're going to have to do things a little bit differently. 2 hatches open there inside of open area. Not too many people playing on the site as is to be expected. With the rest nicely reinforced. We've actually left elevator soft as well and open for Nordwin.
So pure run-of-the-mill roam game that we're used to seeing a lot of the time. Just opening the hatches, denying access to server. Or not server, but denying access to the plant from server. Defro, how will you approach? It's Defro, that's the team we want to see appear now. It looks as if they're going to go for the roam game challenge only. Players located above, they will open up the 2 hatches that were reinforced. I think Unlimited, they're happy enough with this. I think Unlimited have been a good side with just realising whenever the jig is up, and they've been able to get out of dodge.
I think that's something that they have done well, is they've been able to roam and know when to actually drop off. Frenchie taking a load of damage there, but he's going to do the job against Rorik regardless. Swaz is poised, ready on these main stairs to do damage as well. Hypex, next player to fall. Things already going a lot better here for Deathrow. IWI going to try and make his way up these stairs and find something to keep his team in it, but it's going to be very slim indeed. Takes a huge chunk of damage for that kill onto Swaz. Frenchie, pretty low. Shukri, not full health, but still a long way here to go for Unlimited. The pre-fire from Shukri was only ever going to end one way. Army, you're going to have to clutch and it's going to have to be spectacular, but he won't get past the first. Shukri 2 kills there on the main stairs. Much better from Deathrow. Very direct. Where has this team been, Demo?
It's incredible how much a round dictates on who gets opening pick. Or just a game in general between these 2 teams. Yeah, it's... wow. Unlimited just torn apart. No refrags from them.
That's the most confident I've seen Deathrow move all night.
Yeah, and Unlimited, I mean, they're set up for those crossfires specifically. Whenever those hatches get opened up above, it does feel as though the player inside of elevator, the mute, kind of just there by himself because he kind of cut off. He doesn't really have the potential of doubling up and, if you know somebody's in main stairs, swing. So the only thing about the top floor, or for the bottom floor, if you're going for that roam game, is you need to be confident with it. You need to be able to take it to the attackers. The whole point of that is to fight. That's what you're there for. If you get ignored, it's great, but you should never be expecting that teams are going to ignore your strategy. You should always be ready for a fight. But no, all credit to Defro. Finally, we get something from them. But we need more of that. Unlimited going back to the open area, this mirror strategy that they play above Ollie. It's good to give them a bit of map control. It's able to kind of add these layers, because if you look at the top floor, look at the kind of layers that Defro have to go through. You have to burn through the guy inside a banana with all the concrete barriers. Once you burn through him, then you can start working on the mirror window. You burn through that. Then you have to go through the Wamai and the shield on towards the stock trading doors. That's the layers that you're dealing with. And guess what? That's not even the bomb site. Then you have to go through the bomb site process. And that was what ate away at Defro's time, was all of these different layers being set up from Unlimited.
Unlimited are good at setting up the mini games that need solving for Death Row, and when you're going up against a team like Death Row, you need to be giving them that sort of problem solving to do, because we know that they're a little bit slow on the attack when things don't immediately go their way. Rorik, inside a double at the minute. I did think he might go for a run out, and he is going to go for it. Picks himself up one, but doesn't realise there's a second. Oh, the fluster. Adrenaline pumping through the veins on the run out, and unfortunately for him, he's going to pay the ultimate price. Wow. Great swing from IWI, and he can drop himself off now. Nordwin, I think, has opened up that mirror window from below.
How is he allowed to do that? Are they not ready for that? And again, right, there's 2 layers down, but you've lost 2 players, and there's still the 3rd layer. Well, okay, never mind. Swaz has just walked in on it. Didn't even drone it. I don't think he even droned it, Ollie.
Just crouch walk in.
Crouch walk in.
It's the safest thing to do.
Seems like it.
I mean, he's got a great little yellow ping there onto Hypex. Hypex is...
He was looking for the holes to try and kill somebody jumping in double window.
I mean, there's nobody jumping in double window. We can confirm that for the time being. Levels out to a 3 versus 3.
2 changes this time. All right, Death Row have actually got some kills, and next up, they've got a bit more time. Surely this will be better. Has to be.
It's the time that really does it, isn't it? Depends if they can get themselves in the right position now. We're going to have Swaz jumping into the Iana clone, gathering a little bit of information here. Prime going to be down in the basement for the time being. Frenchie does have 2 Selmas, so he can try and open up this wall a little bit. There's actually no holes above for an impact trick either. Nordwin going to be inside of Tellers here. He has a great chance at playing spoiler. He doesn't necessarily need to get the kill here. Even if he just takes off the Selmas, he's done a really good job. Won't get visual on that Selma, but certainly gets a visual onto Frenchie and is able to down Swaz. Caught out, not able to provide the cover. A lot comes down to him and Prime now as Swaz searches out for this player inside of Archives. Won't find too much damage and will be taken out by Army. Great pincer movement there. Real good teamwork showing through from Dunlimited. The diffuser cold, 13 seconds. Prime, 1 versus 2 here. Army and IWI know exactly where he is. They also know where the kit is, so this should be fairly straightforward for them. Prime going to crouch walk his way into sight. Little hopsy up from IWI, and he's able to easily take him out. A little bit more time isn't going to do it, Death Row. You need more than that to execute onto that site.
They need the drones working in the final minute. That's what they're lacking, Ollie. Once again, they push into Skylight to open up the quad wall, and they've been caught out by just a guy sat in a corner holding an angle. Last time it was a man in Janitors. This time it was a man in towards Tellers. Huh.
I thought it was really lacking in that round. They got the top floor control, but there was no vertical.
Well, they lost. Who did they lose? They lost the sledge, did they not? Because it was the jump out, wasn't it? It was the jump out. Yes. It was the first pick.
Yes.
They lost the sledge early on, but again, I think whenever you know, you can then just open up quad wall as easy as it is, and then maybe taken towards Archives. I think Archives is a crucial location that needs to be taken by attackers for that attack, because keep in mind, everyone opens up that triple wall. It gives you a way into sight. It gives you an angle to stop anyone playing inside a kitchen. It's a great pause to take up, but Death Row have just been very negligent of taking that.
10 seconds to insertion.
3 rounds to 1 for Dunlimited.
5 seconds left.
Looking pretty hot here on the defenses of Bank, all things considered.
One thing as well you have to give credit for Dunlimited is they are exposing Death Row. They're doing the same things over and over again, and that is the lack of information. They know they're not being droned out. They know they can sit in these positions that's going to gift them kills. Like Dunlimited, we mentioned before whenever they played against 10-star, if you give them what they want, you're done. You cannot give this team anything. Like I mentioned, I think Dunlimited, they have their weaknesses like every team, and I think they can be exposed. 10-star's shown that. But if you aren't exposing Dunlimited and you're not putting them in the hot seat, tricky. And once again, who got the opening pick?
Well, it was the jump out, wasn't it?
Telling you, just don't believe it. These teams just cannot play from behind.
Quite a lot going into this stock control right now. Hypex still has a Wamai in there. There's a direct focus here onto Square Stairs as well. Currently nobody out there on that rappel. Swaz just seeing if there's anything that he can grab here.
Oh, well, Unlimited's won. We know that. 4-1 the round, isn't it? They got the opening pick.
I don't know why Swaz is peeking that with off the back of just no info whatsoever. Like, he's waiting for the drones to come through, but they're just a little bit too far behind. Frenchie, however, he's picked himself up too, got himself firmly into stock.
Shukri. He's stumbled into janitors. Is this going to work out for him, Ollie? This is a big moment. No! Holding on to the wrong side of the rotate. Auroric eliminates them. And Defro, all of that hard work that they had to gain that man advantage has been... It's done because there's been a Wanderer. We found another one.
It's been given away. Prime was caught in main lobby as well while all of this is going on. Literally got teammates in sight. He is going to turn his attention here. Does manage to connect onto Army. It wasn't looking good, but he corrected. Nordwin now knows that there's going to be a threat on these main stairs. Rorik coming in from below as well. Could prove to be a bit of a pinch, but it's not going to be enough. Frenchie has said enough is enough. Picked up 3. Prime secures the last. We've booked the trend demo.
We have.
The opening pick hasn't rewarded a round win. On the contrary, Death Row have fought from behind, and it was, I'll be honest, all off the back of Frenchie.
Pretty much.
3 big kills in that round.
That Zero you have to mention about the Zero. He got 2 picks from 2 different players trying to flank from lobby because there was Zero cam. Did you not see immediately as soon as somebody's in lobby, he knows what angle to hold every single time. So there's the value that you can see out of the Zero that we were mentioning about that operator. Showcases that. One change that I was going to mention the last time, which actually is happening now, Ollie. Can you actually... Let's play Spot the Difference. Can you see the difference? What was I going to mention about what maybe Unlimited were lacking?
The dock.
No.
The mute.
Yes. It was the mute.
I hedged with the dock because
you should have went with the mute. And the reason why I wanted to pick up on the mute was look at where Frenchie got his 2 kills from. It was from the stock windows, 2 kills. And he got it from opening up that single wall so easily using the Hibana pellets. If you have that mute jammer, that's not going to happen. And it's good to see Unlimited have realized that. You need to hold that position. I personally think that stock position was gave up way too early from Unlimited's perspective.
I think it was given up, well, was it given up early or did Death Row do a good job of dealing with it?
No, it was given up early because they didn't have the mute jammer.
But playing the game that was in front of them,
yeah, fair.
Death Row did a good job of identifying
Of course they did, but I think that they should have been struggling a lot more because that is not an easy position to clear out of. You have typically the shield, which isn't actually here because they forfeited the alibi. They have brought in the mute, and that means they don't have the shield. So it makes it stronger and it makes it weaker. It has its pros and cons. I was even mentioning about even the mute to combo the mirror windows that they had in the open area defense. I was mentioning that, thinking, you know, maybe a mute jammer would be nice for the mirror windows, but then I was thinking, oh, but then they have to remove the shield operator, and then they can't play that shield. So I was going through the motions in my head, and they've went for it. It's just, do you value that shield? How much do you value that deployable shield? If you don't, and you'd rather have the mute, and you think you can play flexible enough in that position without the safety, then go for it, sure. Let's see how it works.
Gorank's got himself onto the rappel. And has been taken off the rappel.
How dare you say that about Gorank? Look what you've done to him.
IWI, he's binned him there. All the way from janitors.
Yep.
Nice little line of sight straight on through.
A lot of dot gameplays tonight. Been a staple pick.
IWI 6-2 as well. Shukri.
Nades from below.
No doubt looking for some nades from below. There is nobody home, my friend. Unfortunately for you, and to be honest with you, there's not a great deal of utility knocking around there either. We've got a couple of bulletproof cameras, but I'm not sure if you're going to be able to effectively clear those out. Bit of a crouch walk up these main stairs. This is what you were asking for a couple of rounds ago, Demo.
Nord wins the danger man. He's inside of elevator. Should be easy enough to get rid of him, though. 1 nade is all it takes, and he's gone from that position. But they need to drone him out. I really hope that they should be ready for a player in that pause. They've got a guy on counter rappel who will now begin to open up that wall. I hope so. There we go. Frenchie swings. Swaz will eliminate him with that simple nade. And IWI tries to get the kill back, but he himself will be denied. better basics from Defro, and that will give them, Ollie, a great lead going into the final 40 seconds.
Frenchie's on a tear in these last couple of rounds. Picks up another onto Army. Rorik left holding a really long angle will eventually put an end to the madness that Frenchie has been dishing out. Hypex on those main stairs as well. The diffuser easily recovered here. 25 seconds and Rorik still has eyes on. Neither player inside of the site though, and no ability to deny. So there's going to be a straight gunfight here. That DMR dishes out the damage even at such long ranges. Hypex hasn't got the information though. No one is going to be coming from the bottom of those main stairs. Now turns his attention, focusing on that elevator corridor. Takes out Swaz, picks up a second. Fantastic work from Hypex. The diffuser cold. Shukri, he's left with nothing left to do. Great recovery from Dunlimited.
How they pulled that one out, I have no idea. Defro did everything right. They pushed the way I wanted them to, which was going up in towards Kanto, taking Spiral, knowing you don't have to deal with the castle barricades and everything that goes into that. But I think the one big thing that they were lacking was just the window presence. That was where they really faltered.
One player on window, someone rotating later on into the round to Skylight maybe.
I think you place two players on the windows, one of them holding the diffuser, and you try and swing in that way. That's the way you do it. Because you have to also remember, if you look at where Rorik was getting those kills from with the DMR, whoever's on those windows can just shuffle over to the Skylight ones and stop him from doing that from that perspective. It's all on the same wall.
Yeah. Well, they lost Gorank so early, didn't they? Gorank was the window player. Yeah. He got sat down quite early on. And the rest is history. 4-2 to Dunlimited. Poised and ready here. Switching sides over onto the attack. Death Row. Last chance saloon for them, Demo. They need to make this defensive phase count, otherwise they will be out of Challenger League. This is the lower bracket.
Never to be seen again.
And Dunlimited have already won map 1.
Gone, but never forgotten.
Never to be seen again until potentially next year.
Or invitational qualifiers, perhaps.
Or a myriad of any other things.
Any other... We've got a lot of siege. A lot of siege. So... Unlimited. On the attacking side, they've looked clinical, Ollie, whenever they set up well, and they've not given away that first pick, which is probably the best storyline that we have right now for Unlimited, is things must go right. If things don't go right on the attack, go next.
And they've been kind of almost vocal about that as well in the way that we've seen them play. You know, it's not that they throw things away if things don't go well in the first couple of minutes of the round, but there's certainly a little bit less try going out there, isn't there, sometimes? So far they've taken good control of this top floor. There isn't any roaming presence really to deal with. Nope. You're looking at players on half stairs, and that's full really turtle. It.
Yeah, full
You're going to be bringing the mirror window. You're going to be bringing C4s, 3 of which you're going to be playing fairly site-centric. You've got the Vulcan canisters. There shouldn't really be anything that holds Unlimited up here from getting to the meat and bones of this round quite quickly. It does all come down to the positioning.
Of course, they have the Thatcher, so the Kai Claw is not going to be an issue. And on the positioning, like you mentioned, Ollie, I think for the attackers, it's probably more crucial than the defense.
Yeah.
I think a player going alone into Garage is necessity. It is a necessity if you want to really stop the denial from happening. But Unlimited, it's all about the time. They burned through 1 Goyo canister, it would seem to be. They will now open up those site walls, but there's still C4s. There's still 2 more Vulcan canisters to get rid of also. There's a player eliminated. There's 1 C4 gone, Ollie. But they still need to eliminate those fire canisters. That is the issue.
There is still a little bit of time for that. Got a couple of nades in Rorik's pocket. He could maybe look to deploy in that direction. Swaz playing a bit of a dangerous game directly underneath of the hatch. Seeing some fire there on the main stairs as that area is briefly denied.
They're going to go for a backdrop. They're just going to ignore all of that, it seems to be, Ollie, because it makes sense. Why waste your time burning through all of the fire whenever you know you have the man advantage especially? Backdrops are very risky because you know it's just going to be a kill fest. You know you just have to trade kills back and forth, but if you have the man advantage, it's going to be great, and that's exactly what they're going for, Ollie. Dropping the hatches, looking to play for kills, and there it is, Unlimited. They get the first pick, and they just dominate in their rounds.
I love the self-belief that we're seeing in this Unlimited side at the moment. They have got such confident calls where they get the opening pick and that's it, it's go time. Everybody is committed. There is no hesitation and people are very quick to be in the right position at the right time. A very speedy rotation there from Nordwin, it's got to be said. He was hanging around inside a server and he used his heart breach gadget. Fantastic. But immediately, as soon as the call came through, bang, he's over into main lobby.
He is the bait. He is the bait.
Well, I mean, he still got a kill through it.
He did.
It still worked out. But as soon as that job is done, it's, yep, now I'm straight over to main lobby.
Because that Cad was the first pick, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, Cad was gone.
And that's whenever they know, okay, we've got the first pick, we have ban advantage, let's go back hatches. Yeah, let's go for it. And look what it's done.
Death row, slightly earlier timeout here.
Can I make a cringe joke?
Cringe away.
They're on death row.
Oh, brilliant.
Stop that.
Things are not looking good at all for Death Row here.
How much you want to make a bet Ginny says a death row pun?
Oh, it's guaranteed.
It's, yeah.
It's guaranteed. I think she made one in the pre-show.
Did she?
Yeah. 5-2 here for Dunlimited. 2 rounds away from advancing through in our lower bracket and 2 rounds away from sending Death Row home. Must be said, the confidence that Dunlimited are moving with at the moment, it's great to see. Death Row, is that timeout going to be enough for them? Previously, when they took a timeout in Chalet, it was good for a round, but not much else.
One thing I do like mentioning about Dunlimited, and I always get filled with joy whenever I say this, is I cannot pick their best player. And I'm not saying that as a mean thing. I'm not saying that in a horrible way. I'm saying that it's just one of those teams where everyone's on it.
Anyone can clutch.
Just anyone on their day can do it. Same way that you can look at some of the best teams in the world.
Such as?
FaZe.
Very true.
BDS.
I mean, GOAT.
Yes, but Renchi has his day. LMs has his day. We've seen, we've seen the life games.
It's true. It really is true. And I agree with you. I don't think that you could really single anybody out on Dunlimited and say, hands down, they are the best player or they are the most valuable player to the team.
It was like 10-star on the other night.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first play day for 10-star where it was certainly one-man army, but then you look at the difference whenever everyone is playing good. That's one of the best feelings in the world, is whenever you come off a performance knowing that everyone done their part. There's not a single weak chain in the link. Everything is strong from top to bottom.
Rorik knows that somebody's playing inside there, and he's got a good idea that it is going to be his Army. Army feeding that drone information across to him. Slightly slower round, all things considered, here from Dunlimited. We're about to approach the halfway point, and we haven't yet seen a kill. Rorik is going to be the first to give himself away, though. Swaz comes to the aid of his teammate. Hypex will be there to trade it back, though, and he's made his way up the stairs and picked himself up a second. IWI shuts Swaz down. That top floor control has now disappeared. Dunlimited, such a great job of refragging that kill onto Rorik and continuing to take control.
Yeah, hit them where it hurts only, isn't it? That's just having everything ready. The contingency plan, if we do lose somebody, we know exactly what to do.
Frenchie now's got to make his choice. Does he debate going up the main staircase? He's now the sole survivor as Nordwind has made it so, taking Prime out. Frenchie's had a great game so far, but I'm not sure if he's got almost an ace clutch in him here. Hypex doesn't even give him the option, doesn't give him the opportunity, Demo. 3 kills on the round for Hypex. It's mapping series point here for Dunlimited. This one's flying by. I thought we were going to be in the trenches on Bank, but Dunlimited seem to have somewhere to be.
Yeah, Dunlimited not even looking phased. They know this is their map. This is their game. I don't see a way for Death Row to come back. I think Death Row tonight have just been not at the races. Even in Chalet.
Not the team that we were expecting.
No, it's not the same team that we've seen up against Ascend, which I think gave them a really good run for their money. It's strange because we looked at the Ascend and Death Row game and we said both teams, played really well that night. Ascend got rolled over against 10-star, and now Death Row's getting rolled over by Dunlimited. And it was funny because then it was 10-star versus Dunlimited went up against each other as well.
We've not seen consistency inside a Challenger League. Any team that has done well one week has done poorly the next, or poorly in week one has done well the next. We are yet to find that consistency in that team that is running away with things. Here in the lower bracket, if you hope to make it all the way, you have to have that consistency because you can't afford to have a good week then a bad.
10 seconds to insertion.
You really only get one chance when you are in the lower bracket. Death Row's chances now. Match point for Dunlimited.
Attackers are moving out to
They're bringing a little bit of fun here, Demo. We're getting the Ying thrown in for good measure.
Yes, indeed. The Ying, which was banned out in Chalet, but is going to be opened up on Bank. Just adds a bit of an oomph into the old motor of the engine. I wonder where they're going to actually utilize the Ying, because there's a few different ways I've seen it being used. One thing that I've actually liked at the moment has been using them on the main stairs skylight. And you know, you can get that vault prompt, you just jump straight onto the stairs. Used the Candelas in that element to clear top main, and then sending the Ying in has actually been a very nice way of doing so. I don't know if they're going to go for that, of course, but it is certainly an option.
Swaz has just hit Rorik with the high. Got him on a great entry. Rorik really getting caught out there.
Attackers have located
And then this is the, I believe this is the first time we've seen Downlimited lose the opening engagement on the attack ollie.
They have been very good at it so far.
But generally, whenever this happens, we know what follows, and it goes from bad to worse for Dunlimited.
Well, Dunlimited have been the only team here tonight that have been able to fight from behind. I think
Well,
we've
on
seen
the
Death Row,
defense.
Death Row have done it once potentially, but Dunlimited have done it a couple of times. So they've got to try and make this remaining utility really count. They've lost a couple of nades there on Rorik. It does seem to have slowed them down a little bit here.
Yeah, that's what I worry for.
There's a lot of
stalling
roamers just
aspect.
hiding away, isn't there? It's going to be a nightmare to try and deal with that. Hypex has got himself into stock, though. It sounds like he's got Ying over his shoulder.
Oh, they're just
Oh, they're just going to crouch walk in.
Yeah.
This could be disastrous here. IWI is going to approach here onto Janitors. The Candela providing the perfect sound cover. Shukri will take Nordwind down, though. A Lion Scan comes, but it might be a tad too late. Kills continue to fly as Hypex does his job. IWI going to pre-fire there onto Gorank and take him out of action. Prime now left, along with Shukri. 2 versus 3. Holding this long angle from Elevator. Nade just going to push him back a little bit. It won't be too much of a risk to his health. Of course, is playing the dock. No more nades remaining. Hypex, he's been on a tear all game, and he's going to continue here and now. IWI closes things out with a nice short, quick swing on into sight. Dunlimited, they advance through our lower bracket, and we have to say goodbye to Death Row.
All credit to them. All credit to Unlimited. Unbelievable in that last round, Ollie. Me and you seen it from a mile off. Death Row didn't.
Scary stuff there from Dunlimited. They have given themselves, given themselves a bit of a statement, given themselves a little bit of a reputation there with that one, I think. I think there was a lot of people sat at home watching this. Certainly the social vote said it, 60-40. A lot of people were thinking that Death Row would come through and have a slightly easier time of things here tonight. I thought that as well. However, Dunlimited, you surprised us, and it has been a pleasure to watch. We're going to throw this one back over to our desk. They're going to break it down and set us up